Extension.
Am I audible? And back? Okay.
Extension.
Is it possible to move ahead a little closer so that when those who come late, then they have some chance. Hare Krishna. How many of you have come for yesterday's session? Okay. How many of you are coming for the first time today? Magyana virandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshuranyutamena tasmai sri gurave namaha. Namo Vishnudaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nami Maste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharya Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyanta Deshatarine Mancha Kalpadravyasya Sindhu Evacha Patikanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yesterday, we discussed about first session of our course entitled Gita in Nutshell, where we discussed 5 secrets explained in Bhagavad Gita. And we had one acronym called as
Light. L-I-G-H-T, light. So from Gita we can understand life's purpose. Life's purpose is not self-gratification, eating, mating, sleeping, defending, but self-realization, understanding who we are. I is identity, understanding our real identity. Our real identity is not this body or anything related with the body, but our real identity is we are spiritual beings, Atma, Sat Chit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. But now we are temporarily covered by this material body. G, we discuss about God. This world we live in is governed and managed and controlled and owned by Supreme Person, God. It's not, the world is not going automatically on its own. L-I-G-H. We saw that material world we live in, Krishna explains Bhagavad Gita, is like a prison house. Those who are disobedient laws of God are put in prison house in this material world, where they are suffering by design. But those who follow laws of God, they can go back to our original home, that is spiritual world, where there is no birth, no old age, no death, no disease, where life is eternal, full of knowledge and full of happiness. And T, transmigration. We discuss how in this world it's not that birth is beginning of life and death is the end of life. There is life before birth and life after death. Because soul is eternal and death is nothing but change of body. Keep on changing bodies in this material world till we come to understand and realize the spiritual reality, spiritual identity, and practice spiritual life. When we practice spiritual life and realize spiritual self and Supreme God, then we can become qualified to enter Kingdom God, where there is no birth, no old age, no death, and no disease. So this is what we briefly yesterday saw in yesterday's session. So in today's session, we'll discuss about secret of realizing Bhagavad Gita. There are two things. One is knowledge, and another is to realize that knowledge. Just knowing is not sufficient, but we need to realize this knowledge. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Pratyaksham Avyam Dharmam Susukham Kartam Avyam. This knowledge can be realize. It's not just we have to assume. Like God, it's not that we have to just assume there is God. We can realize God. We can see God. We can talk with God. We can have personal relationship with God. So Bhagavad Gita tells that we can realize this knowledge. It's not that we have to just blindly accept and blindly follow. The science of soul, it's not that we just accept blindly. We can realize our existence as spiritual beings, separate from body. So, this is a great science. We see in science, there are two things. One is theory and this practicals. We study theory and then we do practicals and then we get a better understanding, better realization. Similarly, in spiritual path, we understand theory, that is philosophy. And then after understanding philosophy, we also practice spirituality based on proper understanding of philosophy. If we just know philosophy, we may know many shlokas, we may quote many shlokas, we may have great understanding. If we know philosophy but we don't practice, that is just called as armchair speculation. It has no much value. Intellectual gymnasium. Purpose is for this. So we just know philosophy but we don't practice. It's just armchair speculation. It has no practical value. Similarly, sometimes people may not know philosophy but they may practice some aspects of. A lot of problems are there in modern times because people don't understand philosophy properly and therefore they become very fanatical. And in name of God, in name of spirituality, in name of religion, then there is so much of conflict, war and this thing. Because there is no proper understanding of philosophy underneath. So it's very important that we understand philosophy, that is theory, and not only understand but also practice authentic form of spirituality. One time in one town, one spiritual gathering was arranged and one saintly person was invited to give a talk. So when he came, sat on asana, and before beginning his talk, he just asked audience, how many of you believe in God? Practically everybody was raising hand. So when everybody raised hand, he said, actually I came today to talk on how to develop faith in God. But since everybody is having faith already in God, I don't think there is any point in talking. So he just got down from his asana and just walked off. The organizer of the program went and said, my dear sir, we arranged this event, you should speak. He said, there is no need because everybody believes in God. Anyway, after a few minutes, again a similar event was organized and same saintly person was invited for talk. And organizers knew what had happened last time. So they beforehand briefed the audience. In case the saintly person asks, do you believe in God? Then don't raise hands. So then he came again. Before beginning his talk, he asked, so my dear ladies and gentlemen, how many of you believe in God? Please raise hands. This time nobody was raising hand. Then he said, oh, nobody believes in God. Actually, this time I came with the desire to talk about God. But if nobody believes in God, there's no point in talking to those who don't have any faith in God. He got down from the stage and then just started walking off. The organizer baffled what to do. They tried to convince him. He said, no, actually nobody believes in God. What's the point in talking to faithless people, Then again after a few months, again a similar program was arranged. This time the organizers made, in case this saintly person asks, do you believe in God? Those who are on left hand side, you can raise hand. That you believe in. Those who are right hand, you don't raise an, as if you don't have any faith in God. So then again the saintly person came and he was about to give a talk. He asked, so how many of you believe in God? Please raise hands. So those who were on the left side, they were all raising hands. Yes, yes, we believe in God. Right hand people were looking at each other and saying, what God, how do you care for him, Then when this person saw that left hand all are raising hand, right hand nobody is raising hand. Then he said, all those on left hand side, please convince people on the right hand side. And then he got down from the asana and left. No? So, what can we learn from this small story about faith? Faith of people. What do you learn? Little bit. What anybody would like to comment on? What can we understand from this little story? It's a little funny story, but there is some lesson to be learned from it.
Faith can change.
Yeah. If we don't have really systematic, scientific, deep understanding of philosophy, deep understanding of God, then our faith can change and be shaken up. Sometimes we may think, oh, I am a big believer of God. And if big calamity comes in life and we are shaken up, then we say, maybe I don't know whether God exists or not. Why bad things are happening to good people like me? Maybe God doesn't exist, no? So, faith can get shaken up. So therefore it's very important that we understand the science of spirituality very systematically. And also we practice the spirituality very authentically, so that our faith gets built up and not just get shaken up. So one should not have blind faith either in modern science or in spirituality. We need to study it systematically and scientifically. And if something we are not able to understand, we should question it. We should ask, we should clarify doubts, and not just go on blind following. So one should have, in the beginning, a reasonable faith which is sensible and verifiable, not just a blind faith and just continue. So we see when we study different departments of sciences, different fields, whenever we study some subject, every field has a particular methodology to understand. So it's very important before studying certain field, we understand what is the methodology of that particular field. For example, if you want to study physics, there is a particular methodology by which we can understand physics. If you want to study chemistry, there is a particular methodology to study chemistry. If you want to study history, there is a different methodology. If you want to study geography, there is a different methodology of study. Imagine there is a chemist and he wants to study geography, and he says, I want to understand geography, but please explain entire geography in just chemical reactions, because I am a chemist and a scientist. So I want to study geography, but I will accept geography only if it is explained in chemical reactions. Is it possible to understand geography in chemical reactions? No, because every field has its own proper scientific methodology to understand it. Similarly, if you want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should understand what is the methodology to understand this Bhagavad Gita. If we don't know the methodology to understand Gita, we may read Gita, we may memorize shlokas, we may give big talks on Gita also, but we may not realize the Gita and we may not understand. And if you don't realize Gita, then our faith will be very superficial and it will get shaken up. But if you understand methodology properly, apply that method properly, and then our faith will, and realize the teachings of Gita, then our faith will be very strong. So, so today, yesterday we had one acronym. What was yesterday's acronym?
Light.
Light. Today, the secret of realizing Bhagavad Gita, one acronym you can remember, that is hope. If you realize Bhagavad Gita, you get lots of hopes in happier and brighter future. And if you don't know the science of Gita, this material world is a very dark place. It can lead to lots of hopelessness and lots of challenging situations. Hope. Hear from right source, who observe consequences, practice spirituality, experience transformation, and share with others. Okay? So we briefly see. First, we'll try to see this methodology properly. Because understanding methodology is very, very important. Okay. Whenever we, there is a field called epistemology. Epistemology is science of knowing things. How we know things, how we understand things. So, there are various ways to understand different things in this world. Prominently, there are three ways to understand things or gain knowledge. First way of gaining knowledge is called as Pratyaksha Praman. Pratyaksha Praman means trying to get knowledge with our senses. We have 5 knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and skin. These are 5 knowledge acquiring senses. When we get knowledge with these senses, that is called as Pratyaksha Praman, direct sense perception. Then there is knowledge which we acquire with our senses, and then we use our mind and intelligence and interpret, or we may little bit process that knowledge and come up with some anuman or guess or speculation. So that is called as anuman praman. So most of the theories which we study in science fall under this anuman praman category. And third way of gaining knowledge is shabda praman, hearing from the bona fide authority. So Pratyaksha Praman. Can we, with our direct senses, have perception of soul, perception of God, and all the reality of this world? Especially in this world, people say, seeing is believing. Unless I see, I can't believe. You are talking about so much subject, you are talking about soul, God, and all this things. First show me, then I will believe. And if I cannot see, I can't believe. But actually, is seeing believing? There are so many things in life which you don't see but we believe in. Can you tell some things which you don't see but we believe? Air. How many of you are able to see air? But you are believing air is existing in this room, isn't it? Yes. What else?
Galaxies.
Universes, different, many things we have not seen, but we are believing. Okay. What else? Mind. We are not able to see, but we believe we have mind.
God.
And I believe all of you have intelligence, though I am not able to see intelligence. Yes.
An atom.
Atom. Okay. It's difficult to see. Yes. How many of you seen or who was the first president of America?
George Washington.
George Washington. How many of you seen George Washington? How many of you believe such person existed? Huh? So we have not seen, but we believe. We may not have seen Mahatma Gandhi. How many of you believe he existed? Yes. So, similarly, how many of you visited a country called Ghana or Tanzania? How many of you believe that such country exists? So we may not have seen, but we believe. So there are many things in life we don't see, but we believe. And there are so many things in life we see with our own eyes, but we don't believe. Can you tell some example? I think some more participants have come. So all of you can come closer. So can you tell some examples that of things which we see with our own eyes but we don't believe? Example of things which we see with our own eyes but we don't believe. Mirage, yes. Sometimes we see on a sunny day, we sometimes roads are sparkling and it may appear water is there, but there is no water. It's just a mirage. Or sometimes we see we go in front of optical mirrors. Some mirrors are there. We go in front of them. You may appear very fat, or you may appear very thin. Isn't you have seen such mirrors? When you go in front of those mirrors, concave mirror, convex mirrors, and all these things, you may go in front. You may appear very fat, but you don't believe you have become fat immediately. Or you may appear very thin, and you may appear very tall. We know this is just optical illusion. Similarly, we see, like here, you are able to see. It appears that this railway track is meeting. It appears that railway track, but we believe it's not meeting. It is appearing. It is we know it is parallel. It's just our optical illusion. It is creating that it is meeting. Similarly, it appears from distance. Horizon is meeting Earth, land, but it's just a illusion. It's not the reality. So we see, but we don't believe. Similarly, we see so many advertisements in television. We see so many movies. Hero is jumping from top of mountain, and he is doing so many gymnastics and so many things. We are able to see, but we don't believe it. Isn't it? So we see here distorted reflections, or for that matter, if you put a pen or pencil in a glass of water, and the pencil or pen appears broken, isn't it? Distorted because of phenomenon called refraction. But we know it is not broken. It is just we are getting that feeling of being bent or broken because of optical illusion. So we see a pen is little bent or broken, but we know it is not. So we see, but we don't believe in. So, so seeing is not believing. Seeing is believing is not a very scientific principle. It's just a saying. It has no substance. Because so many things in life we see, we don't believe, and so many things in life we don't see, and we still believe. This is Mirage. Pratyaksha Praman means getting knowledge by direct sense perception. And actually, we cannot get complete and perfect knowledge using our material senses like eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue. Why? Because all our senses have 4 defects. Everyone, whoever we may be, we have 4 defects. First, our defect is that, what is first defect? What is first defect? All our knowledge acquiring senses are imperfect. Our eyes are imperfect, ears are imperfect, nose is imperfect, tongue is imperfect, skin is imperfect. And because of imperfect senses, we are put in illusion. And when we are put in illusion, we commit mistakes. To err is human. And when we commit mistake, there is also tendency to cover that mistake. That is called a cheating process. Because of these 4 defects, it is impossible to get complete and perfect knowledge about world around us. Even the best of the scientists also has these 4 defects. So we see our imperfect senses. We may be very proud of our eyes, but 99.99% of reality we cannot see. We can only see between 400 to 700 millimicron wavelength. Only between ultraviolet and infrared, that wavelength only we can see. There are so many wavelengths of higher wavelengths and lesser wavelengths. We can't see. We can't see cosmic rays, we can't see gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, we can't see infrared rays, we can see microwaves, radio waves, broadcast bands. So 99.99% of the reality we cannot see. And just because we can't see, can we say it doesn't exist? Now I am not able to see this mobile waves, radiations. Can I say it doesn't exist? There is no Wi-Fi here because I cannot see it. That would be foolishness. Because my eyes have deficiency. I can only see from 400 700 millimicron wavelength. So, what to speak of seeing the world around? I cannot see on my eyelid. I may be very proud of my eyes, but I can't even see the closest object, that is my eyelid. I can't see what is behind me. So to just depend on eyes to know the world and to realize the truths of this world is not possible. Similarly, we can say about ears. We can hear only between 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. Anything below or above, we can't hear. For example, here, if there is ultrasonic sound, or if you blow dog's whistle with ultrasonic vibration, we will think it's peaceful, silence, there is no sound. But actually there is very high pitched sound. All dogs will run away. And we wonder why they are running. It's peaceful. Okay, they are running because they are able to hear what we are not able to hear. Similarly, we have infra sounds, and so it may appear sometimes we are sitting, it may appear peaceful, but it's not peaceful. There is so much of sound. We are not able to hear the sound because we have limitation. We can only hear between 20 Hz and 20 kilohertz. We can't hear any wavelength above 20 kilohertz and any wavelength below 20 Hz. So just because we are not able to hear sound doesn't mean there is no sound. If we are not able to hear, that means there is no audible sound. If we are not able to hear sound, we can just infer that there is no audible sound. We can't say there is no sound because there can be sound with very higher frequency or very low frequency. So we see our eyes are not complete and perfect. Our ears are not complete. And similarly, we can talk about our nose. We can't smell everything. Dogs can smell better. Similarly, we can't taste every single thing. We can also taste only within some range. And feel by the skin. We can't differentiate every minute detail, temperature and all these things, softness and all this. There is certain range only we can feel. So our senses are imperfect. how many of you understand this point and agree with this point that no matter who we may be, as human beings, our senses are imperfect? How many of you understand and agree? So because of this imperfect senses, we are put in illusion. Somebody may say, oh, I may have imperfect senses, but then now our science and technology is advanced so much. My eyes may be defective, but now I can have electronic microscope, I can have telescope, I can have so many technical gadgets. But even if you have technical gadgets, still ultimately we have to get the knowledge through our imperfect senses only. So this Nobel Prize winning physicist Eugen Wigner says, even if we photograph stars, eventually we have to take in by our senses what the photo shows. Furthermore, without our senses, we cannot handle a camera. Even if we amplified, refined by instrument, the knowledge is no more perfect than our imperfect senses. And also that instruments are also made by our imperfect senses only. So that we can't remove that imperfection completely. So because of this imperfect senses, we are put in illusion. So there are optical illusions we saw. And similarly, there are other illusions, like for example, here you can do this experiment. You eat rasgulla or gulab jamun, some sweet, and then you eat orange. Orange will appear sour. And imagine if you eat lemon first, and then eat same orange, it will appear sweet. Isn't it? Because we are put in illusion, because our senses act relatively based on previous experiences. Similarly, you can have this experiment, you can have normal water temperature, water in a container, and you can put first your hand in warm water and then you put in normal water. Hand will feel that water is cold, because earlier our hand was in warm water. And if you put hand in cold water and put in normal water, same water will appear to be warm. And imagine we can put one hand in cold water, one hand in warm water, and put both hand in normal water. One hand will tell, oh, this water is warm. One other hand will tell this water is cold. Isn't it? Now, our both hands are telling us two different information. So which information to believe in? It can be very confusing. What is the reality? Is it cold or warm? It's not that different people are telling. Our own senses, our both hands are telling different thing about same water, because of previous different experience. So our senses can be put in illusion, and they can give us different information, illusory information. So now, what are you seeing on the board, on the picture? What you are seeing? Huh? Old lady. How many of you are able to see old lady? Okay. Anybody else? Young lady. How many of you are able to see young lady? So just say. Some people are saying young lady, some people are saying old lady. So based on what we say, we can have fight. Some, no, this is young lady. And then another person, no, this is old lady. So what is the reality? Whether young or old? So it depends on in the angle which you are seeing. So how many of you are able to see both young lady and old lady? Okay, some can see both. Okay. So how many of you are not able to see both? So maybe you can explain how you can see young lady and old lady?
I think I may have seen it before.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, I may have seen it before.
Yeah, but it's just way of
Yeah.
how we look at it.
Right.
Suppose you can explain how to see the young lady.
So the young lady is looking. Is looking out, facing the back. Looking away from us.
Yeah. There is some, what do you say, pointer or something is there, stick or something, pointer by which. Yes. You can show.
Krishnan
Yes.
will show us how to.
So the young lady, this is her hair, and this is her face, and she's looking that way. Whereas the old lady, this is her nose.
No, 1 minute. You just show the young lady first and let us see. Everybody else see her.
This is the young lady.
You are able to see young lady? Once again you can show young lady.
This is her hair, and she's looking this way.
You can show her nose
This is her nose.
and ears of her.
This is her ears.
Okay, you are able to see young lady? Yeah. Okay. Now you can show the old lady.
The old lady has this is her nose, her lips, and her hair is,
Okay.
she has grey hair, I think.
Yes. So you are able to see the old lady? Yes. Thank you very much. So we see when we do research and if you depend on eyes, some scientists may say, oh, this is like this. Somebody may say this is like this. But actually, our eyes are defective and we can be put in illusion. And there can be, both may be right, both may be wrong also. Sometimes we may see something which is not there only. Because our eyes are put in illusion, we may imagine something else. So what you are able to see here?
Pac-Man.
Huh?
Pac-Man. It's a video game.
Okay, Pac-Man. Okay. Or you are able to, somebody may see there is triangle.
Yeah.
Or one may say, oh, there are the 3 cut circles, Now it depends on what you focus. So now, what you are able to see?
2 Mexicans.
How many of you are able to see 2 young couple?
Yes.
How many of you are able to see old couple? So it depends on your angle of vision, what you are seeing. Either you can see young couple or you can see old couple, or one can see, when we change at a time you can see only one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So this is called illusion. Our eyes put us, because us in illusion. This is a simple static painting, but it appears moving, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a simple painting. But the way it is painted, it is creating the illusory effect of moving. It is not moving, but it is creating the illusion of moving. So now we have to depend on eyes. Eyes may tell, oh, this is moving. But really this is just a painting, it's not moving. Similarly this. This is also just static painting. The way it is painted, but it appears like moving. So eyes are put in illusion. Our eyes are imperfect because of being imperfect. They are put in illusion. So sometimes we may not be able to understand the reality just by seeing. Our eyes may tell, oh, this is moving, but actually this is a static painting. Now you are able to see this. So you just focus on the dot in the center and move your head backward and forward. Move your head backward and forward. You are able to feel that circle is moving, inner circle.
Yes.
Actually it is static, but it is appearing moving. So that is illusion, optical illusion. So we see our eyes are put in illusion. So it's very difficult to understand truth just by eyes. By our eyes we may think, oh, this is a rotating thing. But reality is that it's not rotating, it's a static thing. So in this way we see all senses have tendency to get illusion. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. So if we depend very much on our senses for knowledge, there is a great chance that we may commit mistake. And therefore, there is a common saying, to err is human. Have you met any human being who has never committed mistake and who will never commit mistake? No, because our senses are imperfect. We are put in illusion. And when we are put in illusion, we commit mistakes. And scientists are also not immune to these defects. if we study our history of science, we can see we have in past done many big mistakes. Earlier, brain was thought of as an organ to cool the blood. They didn't know how brain is so complicated and how brain controls so many functions of different parts of the body. But earlier, it was thought that, oh, brain means it just cools the blood. Earlier, pituitary gland or master gland was just considered as a vestige tissue, useless tissue in human body. But now we know this pituitary gland is such a very important thing. So when people don't have proper knowledge, one can come with incorrect conclusions. We see in astronomy, Hubble's constant. Earlier they were saying Hubble's constant. Now it has changed more than 3 times. So and it's very important parameter to decide the distance and calculate different distance between stars and all that. Now that constant itself is changing, it's very difficult to know. Then all other calculations are true or false. So there are tendencies that we commit mistakes. We see that one time there was a plague in London, and scientists were trying to analyze what is the cause of that plague. And they thought that plague is caused because of cats. So then government told we should kill all the cats. And all the cats were killed in London. And then they saw that plague is increasing more and more. And then they realized later on, again they found the plague is not because of cat, it is because of rats. And now cats are dead, so plague is even going viral. So sometimes we commit mistakes like this. And sometimes when we commit mistakes, there is tendency to hide those mistakes, cover up the mistakes. How many of you ever covered some mistake in your life as a small child or a student or in any? Sometimes we see in examinations or when we do in practicals, we are supposed to do some research and plot the graph and make graph. If you know that graph has to be straight line, first we'll put points and then plot. And if some other readings come, we'll discard that reading. So there is tendency to cheat. One time, one devotee was traveling in a train, and train was stationed at one particular station for more than 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, when train was about to move, person went down and purchased newspaper and came back and he jumped inside a moving train. So this devotee was wondering, if you wanted to read newspaper, why didn't you go before, purchase newspaper? Why did you go and last moment and jump in a running train? It could be so dangerous. He said, you will not understand. He said, what's the matter? You can try to explain me what's the matter. He said, I had a fake coin. So if I had gone earlier and if I had given the fake coin, newspaper person would have realized that and he would not have given me newspaper. But because when train was moving, I went, he had no time to see, so he immediately gave the newspaper. And I got the newspaper. Just see how smart I am. So he was thinking he's very smart. And after a few minutes, that devotee was sitting beside it. His eyesight went on the date of the newspaper. And he found out it was 1 month old newspaper, So this person is thinking that I will cheat him by giving fake coin because he may not have time to see. At the same time, newspaper wala is also experienced, He gave him 1 month old newspaper, So this world of cheaters and cheated. Sometimes we try to cheat others and sometimes we get cheated. Isn't it? So, and such cheating happens in science also. It's not that modern science is perfectly unallied science where everything is that they are talking about absolute truth. In the initial stage of my learning, actually I was very much eager to understand truth. And I remember when I was in 11th standard, I went to hear, because I was interested in research and PhD and all this. So I went to hear Mr. Richardson's, a Nobel laureate, who got Nobel Prize for magnetic resonance. And he gave such a fantastic talk, and then there were question answers. And in question answers, he was asked about how he came up with this theory and all these things, and he explained. And actually it was mind-boggling how much efforts and hard work he had put. Practically years of dedication, years of sacrifice, years of, practically sleepless nights he had spent to come up with this magnetic resonance theory. Then later on, one student asked this Dr. Richardson's one question. He said, "My dear Richardson's, it's practically mind-boggling how much efforts you have put in this work. Can you please tell what inspired you, what motivated you to do so many sacrifices, to do so much hard work?" The answer he gave really shook my life. And I was really taken aback. Richardson's, he said, what motivated me, what inspired me, is same thing what motivates all the scientists of the world. I'm wondering what motivates all scientists. And he said, I wanted to prove myself. When he said I wanted to prove myself, I was so shaken. I was thinking he wanted to prove the truth. But he is not interested in proving the truth. He wanted to prove himself. That was one of my most devastating this thing. Then I realized that actually more people are more interested in proving themselves than knowing the truth and proving the truth. So therefore sometimes in order to prove themselves, sometimes they can cheat also. We see Darwin. He just speculated man came from monkey. And then they said, oh, there is a missing link between monkey and ape, monkey and man. And maybe our further research will, on this thing, come up with this missing link. And then we see so many missing links were proposed, but actually later on they found that they were actually cheating these things. So a lot of fraud and all these things. So in scientific field also, there is a lot of fraud. They found out, especially Piltdown man fraud. They found out they had just filed a human jaw and ape skull. And they were joined together just to prove a theory of evolution.
Evolutionists go so far in this subject that they can even invent very different faces for the same skull. The three entirely different reconstructions made for the fossil called Xanthropus is a famous example showing how persistent evolutionists are in producing these false masks. Another intermediate transitional form fabricated by evolutionists was the Nebraska man. This was cooked up in 1922 on the basis of a single fossil tooth. The evolutionists did not neglect to give it an ostentatious Latin name, Parapithecus paralcuca, or to make imaginary drawings related to it. It was soon revealed that the tooth that had been the source of inspiration for Nebraska man in fact belonged to a wild pig. Many other fossil skulls have been presented as great evidence for evolution failed one by one. Neanderthal man was advanced as evidence in 1856, dismissed in 1960. Piltdown man was advanced as evidence in 1912, dismissed in 1953. Xanthropus was advanced as evidence in 1959, dismissed in 1960. Ramapithecus was advanced as evidence in 1964, dismissed in 1979.
So we see that sometimes people can fabricate some things just to make their points. So this is cheating propensity. So because of these 4 defects, it is practically impossible to get complete and perfect knowledge without direct sense perception. So one may think, oh, okay, with direct sense I am not able to get complete and perfect, but I have mind and intelligence. Maybe I can use my mind and intelligence. But our mind and intelligence are also imperfect. And they also use data given by imperfect senses. So it doesn't become complete. It cannot lead to complete and perfect understanding. So we see most of the theories, like this world has come by Big Bang. It's just a theory, not a reality. Or man has come from monkey. If you tell your children man has come from monkey, they will behave like monkey. And then you will question why they are behaving like this, like monkey. But man has not come from monkey. And this world has not come by Big Bang. This world has been created and designed. And it's going under the direction of God. And similarly, mans have been existing for millions of years. And monkeys also have been existing for millions of years. And even today, man is existing, monkey is existing. It's not that monkey has become extinct and only man is living. So there is Mr. Michael Cremo. He has written a book, Forbidden Archaeology. You always have done archaeological this thing and presented so many evidence, but they have selected this thing, selected evidence. But Michael Cremo has done a lot of research and he has presented another book called Forbidden Archaeology. How eolists are just selectively taking and rejecting which doesn't fit their theory. But the fact is that for millions of years, humans and monkeys are together existing. So sometimes we may present some theories, anumans, all that, but cannot be. So we see that with our mind and senses, imperfect mind, imperfect senses, we can only get incomplete and imperfect knowledge. We can't get complete and perfect knowledge. And half knowledge is really very dangerous thing. So, and also, dukkha aushadam tadapi dukkha. It is said that with our imperfect mind and senses, if we try to find a solution to the problems, many times we come up with solutions which are more dangerous than the original problem. The cure sometimes is more worse than the original disease. So this is the situation. Because of our imperfect mind and senses, we cannot get complete and perfect knowledge with pratyaksh praman or anuman praman. Does that mean that we have to remain in ignorance? And ignorance is root cause of suffering. Does that mean that we have to continue suffering whole life, eternally? Is there any way out to get complete and perfect knowledge? So, Vedas explains, Ishwamnisha explains, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Evavishishate. It explains that God is complete and perfect. And God has made complete and perfect arrangement for everything in this world. And for every problem, there is complete and perfect solution as well. Like we say, we feel thirsty. Is it a problem? It is a problem. We feel thirsty. Thirst, when it comes, it's a great problem. It's very miserable experience. Is there a solution to quench the thirst? What is the solution? Water. It's not that we feel thirsty. It's not that we have to go in research lab and research and invent something, how I am going to solve this problem of thirst. No. There's natural problem, thirst. There's natural solution, water. We just have to drink that natural water. Now anyway, we have polluted water, so we may not be able to drink naturally. We may have to process. But originally there is a natural problem, there is a natural solution. Similarly, hunger is a problem. Is there a solution for hunger? So there is a natural solution. In nature you see, God has naturally provided food grains, vegetables, fruits, roots, which we can eat. It's not that we have to, now hunger is there, now what to do, how to solve the hunger, I have to do research, I have to invent something and solve the problem. No. There's natural problem is existing and then natural solution is also existing. So in this world, for every natural problem there is natural solution. Similarly, all of us are hungry and thirsty for knowledge, isn't it? And that's why we go to school, college, university, because we are hungry and thirsty for knowledge. So ignorance is a problem. Hunger and thirst for knowledge is a problem. So what is solution? God has already given that solution also. So that is called as Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman means at the beginning of creation, we see Lord gives this knowledge about this world. Lord is complete and perfect, and He can give complete and perfect knowledge. Human beings, as human beings, we are incomplete and imperfect. So we may not be able to invent and discover complete and perfect knowledge. But God is complete and perfect. He can give us complete and perfect knowledge and understanding. We see in this world, even ordinary manufacturers, when they manufacture any machinery or instrument or gadget, along with that they give manual. You go in market, buy a mobile, with mobile comes manual, isn't it? You go and buy a car, with car comes manual. You go and buy a refrigerator, with refrigerator comes manual. You buy any complicated machinery, any intelligent manufacturer designer, he will also give manual with it, isn't it? God is the most intelligent designer and manufacturer. After creating this complicated and high-tech universe, will He not provide manual? No, He will. He has. So Vedic texts like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these are not ordinary books. They are not man-made books. They are words of God. Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad. Bhagavad means God. Gita, song of God, song spoken by God, words spoken by God. These Vedic literatures are called Apaurushya. Apaurushya means which are not man-made, which have divine origin, whose origin is God. So, so if you want to lead a happy life, it's important that we access this Vedic wisdom, which are like manual for life. Hare Krishna. So, what did you learn from this small video? Huh? Yes, he is trying to use the machine without understanding the manual. He doesn't know, and he is trying to do trial and error. If you try to do trial and error, it can be very risky. Similarly, this world, if you try to live life by trial and error, it can be very dangerous. Better read manual and accordingly use it, then it will be very fruitful. So many times in modern times, people hardly believe in texts like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or for that matter even Bible or Quran. They don't believe in that, and they just try to live life as they like, and then they complicate their life. But if we try to spend some time to understand the principles from that and live life by that, we can say our life can be more meaningful, our life can be more peaceful, our lives can be more, quality of life can be much
see this knowledge of Gita. Krishna explains that I gave this knowledge at the beginning of creation to some. At the beginning of creation, this knowledge went to Brahma. Brahma gave Narad to Vyasa, it's coming down. Then also in between, Krishna said, I gave this knowledge to sun god Vivashvan. And later on, it was coming down. But there was, that knowledge got little corrupted. So Krishna said, I am again giving you this knowledge already. So this knowledge which I am giving, I am not giving you for the first time. And this is not a new knowledge I am giving. This is eternal knowledge. So Krishna gave knowledge of Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. That time he said, millions of years ago I gave this same knowledge to sun god Vishnu. And trillions of years ago, I gave same knowledge to Brahmaji. So this knowledge is not new knowledge. Knowledge, you can't put a date to the knowledge because it's eternal knowledge. And it is passed down in disciplic succession. Guru, disciple is coming down. And till today, this knowledge is coming down. So, when we hear this knowledge from right source, which is connected to God through disciplic succession, then we can get complete and perfect knowledge. So we see God is considered like our father, and scriptures are considered like our mother. Shastras are considered as mother. If child wants to know about father, he can know from mother. So you see, imagine a child wants to know who his father is. Now there are two ways to know. One is that you can do some test, DNA test, genetic test and all these things. So we try to do that test of all males on the planet Earth. It is said it will take 800 years to do test of all males on the Earth. And then in the end, one will get idea that maybe one of these 200 men must have fathered this child. But by that time, after 800 years also, one will not be able to exactly, precisely know who exactly father is. It can be just indicated. But easiest way is just ask mother. So similarly, it is if you want to know God, our eternal Father, by research, no matter how much we may not be able to come to proper understanding. But if you just study scriptures, or scriptures are considered like mother, if you ask scriptures, one will be able to understand about our eternal Father, God. So Vedas are like mother, God is like the Supreme Father. We see, like if you want to know technical knowledge, academic knowledge, we go to some authorized college. Similarly, if you want to know about science of soul, science of God, we need to go to a parampara or sampradaya. It is called as Vedic universities. Like we have modern universities, there are Vedic universities of study. They are called as sampradaya or parampara. In college, we go and study under an authorized professor. Similarly, in sampradaya and parampara, there are authorized teachers, experienced teachers. So one has to go to experienced teachers. And in books, we refer to authorized books to understand the subject. Similarly, if you want to understand the subject of life and death, if you want to understand the subject of God, if you want to understand science of soul, then we need to refer Vedic texts like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then one can understand things properly. Vedic text talks about material as well as spiritual subject matter. Because knowledge means to know matter, spirit, and control of matter and spirit, that is God. So Vedas talk about all the three things. Both material knowledge is there also, and anti-material spiritual knowledge is also there in Vedas.
University of California at Irvine, April 2017. Aerospace engineer Travis Taylor has obtained a model of an aircraft whose design specifications are based solely on information gleaned from ancient Indian texts that are believed to have been formally set to writing in 500 BC. He is going to subject it to wind tunnel analysis to determine if it is a viable flying machine. The aircraft model, created using details garnered from the ancient Indian texts, has proven to be flight-worthy. Is it possible that by studying the ancient Indian texts, we may be able to recreate advanced technology that existed thousands of years ago in India? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the texts may also contain details for advanced spacecraft.
So there are a lot. And Vedas talk about Vyoma Shastra, Ayurveda, astrology. Then they talk about astronomy, Ayurveda, all these things. So the science which is required for our living in this material world, and also they talk about science of soul and God, spiritual subjects. Also we see, if you study Vedic texts talk about past, present and future. For example, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was written down 5,000 years ago by Vyasadeva. So 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva is predicting that in future, Gautam Buddha will appear. In 1st canto, 3rd chapter, 24th verse, there is a description of Buddha. And we see 5,000 years ago it was written that 2,500 years later Buddha will appear. And Buddha appeared. We see 5,000 years ago there was prediction that Chanakya Pandit will appear. And there is description of Chanakya Pandit and how he will dethrone more kings and all these things. And we see after in future that thing happened. And there is a prediction of Emperor Ashoka. 5,000 years ago there was a prediction. In Bhavishya Puran there was prediction of Jesus Christ, how he will come and teach science of God. There is in Bhavishya Puran also prediction of Muhammad, the prophet. So, and also there is prediction of Lord Chaitanya. 5,000 years ago, there was prediction that 4,500 years later, Lord Chaitanya will come and spread the chanting of the holy names of Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And there is prediction of Senapati Bhakta of Lord Chaitanya that one Indian sadhu will come and he will spread the teachings of holy names all over the world. And we see 50 years ago, Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON Swami Prabhupada came and he established ISKCON and spread the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and especially chanting of the holy names of Lord everywhere. So Vedic texts talk about not only past, they also talk about present and they talk about future. And if you read 12th canto Srimad, there is a lot of predictions are there about future, what all things are going to happen. So there is prediction that food will be sold. Earlier people would never believe that food can be sold. Prediction that water will be sold. Now these are like 5,000 years ago, nobody could imagine food being sold, water being sold. And there are many more dangerous predictions which I don't want to talk. But you can read it yourself. And we can see one by one all those things are coming true.
Aloha and namaste. 2020 is certainly a year that will not soon be forgotten. For most, if not all of us, it has brought about many unexpected changes. The uncertainty that this year has brought has made me personally reflect upon the time that I spent deployed in the Middle East. That too was a time in my life when there was danger at every step. Each day brought new uncertainties, and likewise, many lives were lost. My shelter then and now has been the Bhagavad Gita, which means Song of God. The Bhagavad Gita spoken by Sri Krishna is full of transcendental wisdom that is as relevant today as it was 5,000 years ago when it was spoken. When we are blown here and there by the strong winds of change, when giant waves are crashing upon us, when we're feeling unsteady, lost, adrift, the Bhagavad Gita offers us guidance and hope. Looking at our problems through the prism of eternality, rather than merely identifying with our temporary material circumstances, gives us an anchor that offers great peace, purpose, and stability through even the most trying of times. May we always be blessed with remembrance of Sri Krishna, his unconditional love, and his transcendental appearance in this world. Jaya Shri Krishna.
So we see this knowledge of Gita can really help us in trying situations, circumstances, and it has always benefited. It was 5,000 years ago when Arjuna was in trauma, he could get peace and direction in life, and even most difficult times now also, anyone can turn towards Gita and get that help. And especially if you want to understand it, we need to understand from a person who has done this science in Parampara, not just any person. So there are qualifications of the person. Vacho vegam, manasapurda vegam, jiva vegam, udarupasa vegam, etan vegan yo visheta dhira, pruthivim sadasyan, pruthivim sasishyan, sarvam apimam pruthivim sasishyan. So a person who can be a good teacher is one who has to control his mind and senses, not that he engages mind senses anyway, anyhow. And he has to learn from previous expert teacher coming Parampara. And most importantly, this knowledge we can understand by practical application. My Rasgulla, how sweet it is, I can talk about it, but you will not understand it unless you eat it. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, how great it is, and this constant knowledge, how wonderful it is, we can never understand it unless we actually start applying life. We have to learn and then apply. We have to learn this science systematically, scientifically from a qualified teachers coming in disciplic succession in Parampara. And then we have to practice this knowledge, practice this spirituality authentically in our day-to-day life. Especially beginning with chanting of the holy names of Lord. So there are 4 sampradayas, 4 universities which have been carrying down this knowledge of Gita from beginning of creation. So it is said Supreme Lord gave knowledge to Lakshmi, Shri, and she has given to her followers. Until today that university is giving knowledge. Supreme Lord gave knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma gave to his followers, and till today this university is giving knowledge. Then there is Supreme Lord gave knowledge to Rudra, and he gave to his followers, and till today this university is distributing knowledge. And then there is Supreme Lord gave knowledge to 4 Kumaras, sons of Brahma, and it's coming down till today. And in modern times, Ramanacharya is Acharya for Shri Sampradaya, Madhavacharya is Acharya for Brahma Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami is Acharya for Buddha Sampradaya, and Nimbarka Acharya is Acharya of Masampradaya. So this knowledge is coming down through different Acharyas. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada comes in Brahma Sampradaya, follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavacharya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when you come to ISKCON temple or when you read Bhagavad Gita by Sri Prabhupada, we should know it's not just ordinary book. He is presenting knowledge which is coming down in Parampara as it is. So he has named the book Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why? Because this knowledge is coming down as it is. And when we connect ourselves to teachers in this universities, sampradayas, then we can get some authentic knowledge. This knowledge cannot be understood by our own mind influence, by experimentation, but by hearing. And then based on hearing, whatever doubts are there, we can clarify, and then we have to apply, and then we realize.
We haven't got to manufacture something. We simply repeat the words and the instruction given by the predecessor. Krishna instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narad, Narad instructed Vyasdev, Vyasdev instructed Madhyacharya, and in this way, then Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis, then the Srinivasa Acharya, Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then we are doing the same thing. There is no difference. That is the specific procedure of the Krishna consciousness movement.
So this knowledge has to receive the input of our awareness. So 5,000 years earlier, this knowledge was received in oral form. In Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, people were Shudhidhar. Shudhidhar means once they hear, they will remember. But in Kali Yuga, one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagi, that people will be less intelligent. And therefore, Vyasadeva wrote all Vedic texts in writing form. So, Vedas are a very vast body of knowledge. There are like 1 lakh verses. So, huge Shruti, Smruti, Puranas, Upavedas, and Vedantas, and all like all of that. Essence of that is presented in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, first step in our proper methodology to understand spiritual matter is that we have to hear from right person, not just any ordinary person, but person who has heard this knowledge in Parampara and who has applied that in his life and who has transformed his life, control his mind and senses, who has got purified and realized that's the place mind. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Since time is up, we'll end here. We'll have, maybe we take one question and then we have some indicators. Anybody would like to ask any questions? Yes, please.
How do you know who the right person is to come from?
We have to ask, if somebody is giving some knowledge, we have to ask, what is source of your knowledge? If he says, oh, I did research, I invented, I have come up with this understanding, then we should know he's not the right person. If he says, oh, I am connected to Brahma Parampara, or Rudra Parampara, or Shri Parampara, and this knowledge is coming from this, then we can know that, and then we can tell, okay, it is from this book, and there are authorized teachers, authorized books, authorized institutes. That is first thing. Second thing, we have to see the character of that person. Whether he has mind control, sense control, whether what is his character, whether he is a humble, he is a tolerant, a person, one who understands spiritual subject, he develops divine qualities like humility, tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, kindness, truthfulness. So he'll be ornamented with all these wonderful qualities. So if you see a person is very arrogant, very proud, selfish, egoistic, that means we know is not the right person to present this knowledge. Also, teacher, he practices himself what he teaches. If he is telling others, you should chant the holy names of Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. He also practices. If he says, oh, you should not eat meat, he also practices. So he is called Acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by his example. He doesn't say something which he doesn't follow. So, and another thing is, we can know about right teachers from other bona fide teachers. Like you go to any institute, there are professors and then there are other professors also. We can hear from other professors about other, we can know whether who is authentic teacher, who is not authentic teacher. So, if you come to ISKCON, you should know that Srila Prabhupada is the authentic teacher, and there are many disciples of Srila Prabhupada around the world who are teaching the same knowledge and carrying forward this disciple service. And if you read the books of Srila Prabhupada, you should know that there are authentic books coming in Parampara.
This is the second thing. Third thing is that you see, how can we know this socket is right or not? If we connect to that socket, immediately power will come, isn't it? And just by connecting, if power is coming, that means it's actually connected to a power station, isn't it? Similarly, if we connect to bona fide teacher, parampara, immediately we see enlightenment will receive, and immediately Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashito, there will be transformation in our lives also. When we follow the teacher, we can see our lives will transform. And first practical immediate experience we can see that is our stress, tension, anxieties will go away. Our confusions, doubts, everything will be removed. So by our own experience also we can know that it is authentic. It's not that we have to blindly accept. If I am able to connect to socket and the power is coming, that means this socket is connected to original power supply. Similarly, if I connect to any bona fide teachers, immediately I can see in my own life there will be transformations. And I'll be free from anxieties and miseries, and now my heart will be also transformed, and I will also become a better person. And if I'm able to see the transformation happening in my life, then I can know that the teacher whom I am connected with is the authentic teacher. So there are check and balance system. There is a guru, sadhu, and shastras. We have to check teacher which is teaching, is it in line with the what is written in the scriptures? Guru, is he teaching according to sadhus, other bona fide teachers, and other bona fide scriptures, shastras? So there is check and balance. If any teacher, he speaks anything contrary to the scriptures or contrary to other bona fide teachers, then one can know there is some problem there. Okay? Does that answer your question? Thank you. So what we'll do, we'll now have kirtans, and after kirtans, if you have any questions, we'll take. Okay? These are just introductory talks. This is a very deep subject, and I know there can be many, many questions, and we are also ready to answer your questions. But after the kirtans. Okay, one more we can have kirtans. So here we have this one more Pandit Prabhu. He is our temple president of ISKCON Boston. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhu, who's singing?
Hare Krishna. So this will be a call and response manner. So everybody please join us. So first the leader will sing, and then all of us will respond to that.